Welcome to channel where we make your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side so once we have all the updates and news, be the first one getting all the insight. Now today's video is basically updating on what has been announced on Friday. Well, I didn't actually have a time on Friday and Saturday. Unfortunately, I was on a business trip, but I'm committed to get this update to you during this weekend. So today's Sunday. Let's have a look at what is expected. Luckily, the law was not straight away enforced. We still got a couple of weeks to go. So let's jump in there and have a look. And at the end of this video, I'll provide a little bit of my summary and also what are my thoughts towards these changes. Obviously, it's a good news for all the employment-sponsored people out there because technically the visa has been, well, by the former government, it was a fact. The former government had actually put this visa into a delay, changes from 457 to 482, creating a lot of chaos. And let's have a look how the current government is trying to fixing it. Okay, now despite the only thing that they did not mention here is regards to the removal of the labor market testing. We noticed that they have said that there's going to be a remove on that one, but I suspect they didn't mention it, but they did mention it at the migration review report. So at the date of the actual enforcement of new policy, I believe that will be removed as well. But let's have a look what's coming up. So as you can see this news, you may want to Google this. You can find this from the Home Affairs direct web page on the 3rd of November, expanding pathway to permanent residency for temporary skills sponsor worker. And I've just been magnifying that so I can read it out, and you can also read it from your screen as well. So as you can see, from the 25th of November, so we still got a couple weeks to go. So today is the 5th. Yeah, it is the 5th. There's another 20 days, so about 3 weeks to go until this new enforcement will right at the changes. So this change is very, very vital, and I believe that's a streamline towards what I have mentioned a couple months ago during the migration review report as well, that the employment sponsored visa is back. Now, what do I mean by back? Because as I said previously, the former government has, well, not putting a ban, but there's just been so many red tapes. You got to do labor market testing, 3 job advertisements, and a lot of costings that making the employer probably not willing to actually sponsor the skilled migrant. But this year, well, not quite this year, but I believe from 25th of November onwards, the visa is a way for a lot of skilled migrant to choose from. You know, as long as you can get an employer, here we go. That's the way to go. Okay, so subject to approval regulation change. So, well, I don't think there's gonna much of changes towards. I believe the labor market testing will come on board, and also they've said about the TSS visa require they talked about not to have the skill occupation list, but don't know what will happen. But let's have read this. The Australian government will make changes to temporary skill shortage TSS subclass 482 and temporary resident transition TRT stream of the employment nominated scheme ENS. So the changes for the TSS visa, I believe it should really include whether or not you need to nominate a skill occupation if they do remove the occupation list. But it seems to be they're not going to do that as what they have said previously. But let's have continue on to provide simpler, clear pathway to permanent rest. So this new changes is more addressing the issue on the permanent residence pathway rather than addressing the TSS. So if they don't change the TSS, what does that mean? That means the LMT, labor marketing, will still be there. You still need you choose your skill occupation from the list, but let's see what happens. The change will provide employer to hold TSS visa with more certainty and ensure that they attract, retain skilled workers it needs. As you can see, the complication of having a law changes really take a lot of time. We have been waiting for this for a year, and finally it comes. And that's where the complication with migration as well. Migration is complicated, despite the website always seem to be very simple. But if you taking account of all the policy changes and how many people want to compete against you, and also the geopolitical issues, it really create a lot of complexity there. So, and that is the reason I have created this channel, to wanting to address all this information in a transparent way, so people can make a better choice and decision regards to where they want to migrate and where they want to go and making a visa application. So temporary skill shortage, let's have read from 25th of November 2023. The government plans to remove the limitation on the number of short-term stream visa holders to make visas. So what does that mean? So the current system is so badly designed by the former government. Again, that's when they have removed 457, introduced the 482. They're saying, I'm sorry, for the short-term skill occupation list people, you can only renew once, and then the second time you want to do it, yes, you can, but you need to get out of Australia and do it offshore, which is, crazy. And plus, the short-term list occupation people, they will never be able to transfer and transit in to become a permanent residence. Now, I wonder how many people actually still get sponsored. They are still people sponsored, but they will know there's no pathway to permanent residency. So what this new policies is bringing on is that they first of all, they removed that. The change intend to apply a new TSS visa application made on and after 25th of November, and short-term stream TSS holder with visa expiring before 25th of November would need to travel outside of Australia to lodge another visa application, which is stupid. I mean, look, why can't they? But anyway, that's the law. Okay, that's the law. Okay, now continue on. Employment nomination scheme, which is the most favorable topic of this video today. It's subclass 1A6. Why? Because 1A6 is a permanent residency visa, and with the temporary residence transition stream. Now, they have not talked about the direct entry, so don't know. There will be some change for the direct entry, but we don't know what's gonna come anyway. So currently addressing the temporary resident transition stream, change to the TRT, allow employer to nominate holder of all streams. So what does that mean? That means there's no the short-term stream used to be not valid, not eligible to actually transfer into a permanent resident. Now they can, and plus the labor agreement as well. Well, traditionally labor agreement usually get you to permanent residence. I'm not too sure how many labor agreement restrict people to become permanent residents. That's usually used by a lot of scarce and very limited restricted area of law. But anyway, all of them can now become a permanent resident. So there's no more changes. So again, that is where I thought they simply just remove occupation list then. But seems to be they will still be useful in the separation of medium, long term and short term. So I don't know what's gonna come. I think that they will more likely to utilize that on the ENS direct entry. That's what the rumors has been told about. But anyway, we don't have any information there yet, so I don't want to confirm that. Now let's go back to the screen. Remove requirement for the nominated occupation for TRT stream to be assessed against skill migration occupation list. Now, how stupid is this? Now, so the current law, you see, they have. You can imagine this. The employee has worked in the position for 2, 3, 4, 5 plus years, and they are still required to assess against what they have worked at, which is just redundant. So removing this, if you read this sentences here, it really make you think it's nuts. What is it talking about? Why aren't people working in their position still need to be assessed by the immigration that they are actually working at that position? Well, that was how the former government had legislated the law with. So anyway, they no longer to assess that. So that means making the application quicker, because it's basically redundant. So nominated worker will need to continue to work, make sure that they still work there, but they're just not going to assess it anymore. Okay. The third point, reducing the period of time TSS visa holder must hold their visa and work in nominated occupation or occupation to be eligible to be nominated in their employer for TRT stream to 2 out of 3 years before nomination. So what does that mean? So the current one, they're required to work at least 3 years, so dropping it down back to 2 years. Now, interestingly, when we go back to the old 457 visas, that was actually what 457 visa was. So the 482, when the former government brought the changes, they said, 2 years is too short, we need to increase it to 3. Now they change it again, put it back to 2. So you see how the crazy world about immigration. I suspect it will be the same in Canada, US, and all the other, Europe as well. But people asking me, why are you just focusing on Australia? Can you talk more about Canada? I said, no, look, basically the Australian immigration law is already driving me nuts. So I'm not going to go into a detail of other nations' immigration law. Okay, change of TRT nomination required to intend apply to new ENS and regional sponsor. So people may ask, what is this regional sponsor migration scheme? Now, this is where they abolish 457 and bring 482 whilst there was so many people stuck in there and delay. Can you imagine that? That has been delayed for 5, 7 plus years, and it's still there, but it's no longer there. Now, if you want to go to regional under the employment sponsor visa, it's 494. So if that's where you want to go, this is entirely not related to you. Okay, so yet to be finally determined. I'm not too sure how many people that means. If you read this line correctly, say application that are yet to be finally determined as at 25th of November 2000. That means there are so many delay and backlog still in the pipeline. Okay, anyway, that doesn't concern us for all the new applicants. Changes plan of TRT visa application include updating age exemptions. Okay, so there's the removing age restrictions on regional medical practitioner applicants. Okay, so if you're a medical practitioner, great, but you need to be at regional. Okay, you cannot be at Sydney, Melbourne, or wherever else. And the high income earning applicant, age 45 and over, allowed 2-year pathway. So what does that mean? And what is the definition of high income earning applicants? So if we refer back to the news article, they were talking about, arguing about the high income earners. I think they were talking about perhaps about 120 plus, or just under 150,000, or perhaps they're going to meet the high income threshold like the global talent independent visa holders applicants at the $167,500, I believe. Not too sure. There is no mention of that figure, but it will be something. Must be something above 120,000. So if you're earning, for example, if you're a medical practitioner and you are age of 50, but you're not in regional, however, if your income is at meeting the definition of high income earning, then you can still lodge it straight away. So that's a beauty there. These changes step first are the first step. Now, here's a keyword. First step in providing more equitable access to PR for all TSS visa holders, whilst the government continue to work on reform skill visa program allow following development of online government migration strategy in response to the review of migration system. So the review of migration system was back in late April, and now it's already November. It's 7 months. That's crazy. So the key here is this is only first step. Now, gosh, we still need a lot of steps need to be done. What about the point test system? Isn't it going to be a new one there? And also, I talked about the labor market testing, and also what about the ENS direct entry? So that hasn't been talked about. So let's summarize this. Now, obviously, we are expecting on the 25th of November the new policy for the TRT stream holders. So removing of all the short-term list. So there's no more short, medium, long-term. Everybody can extend their TSS visa. And they pulled down from 3 years requirement to transfer to do a TRT pathway transfer into permanent residency down to 2 years. There's no more assessment on the occupation. Well, despite they still assess it, but they just need to make sure that the occupation is the same. So if you're a chef, you make sure you're a chef and chef and chef, okay? But they will not go into and check whether or not you go through a general step. I'm not too sure how they're gonna do it, but it's really stupid if this guy has been sponsored as a chef, making sure they need to make sure they are still a chef, not becoming an IT professional. You know, but it's just ridiculous. It's not gonna happen that way anyway. So it's a good thing, good sign. And this is only the first step. So there's a lot more other steps to be coming. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and share with your mates. And if you have more questions, comments, make sure you can leave a comment right down below. I'll see you next video. Goodbye.